Good morning. Let's talk about universe for a second, the word. Excuse me, it's early. I talk about that we don't understand the very language that we use. And this ties into spirituality. A lot of times we give things up to the universe. We purge things away from us. We give it to the universe. Most people don't give it to God. But if you look at the definition, it's Latin, the whole word. The prefix, the suffixes, everything. It's all from the Latin, meaning uni, meaning one, obviously, and verse, meaning to turn. But if you look at the word universe in the Latin phrase, when it's combined, it says to become whole, one. Now that's a direct contradiction of the language. See, in uni that means one, or it can also mean I, as in I am. But versus means to turn, or against, to turn against. So now if you look at that word truly and in context, it means to turn against the norm or God. Now, we could argue this several times, but my whole process here is to make you think. So when we look at that specifically to the Latin language, and then it was adopted through the English and the French, etc. But we don't understand the very language that we use. So in other words, okay, let's say when we purge something, okay, I purge, I'm against you, okay, but that also can technically mean I'm against God. I'm against God. And some of you may think that's a stretch, but it's not when you look at the words historically in context. So my question is, when we purge things and we give it to the universe, and this has been happening for the last few decades, this awakening of spirituality, God, the whole bit. So my question is, are we actually creating the chaos that is in the world now? Instead of us dealing with it, we're throwing it out there for someone else or some essence to take. Now, we all know that energy can't be destroyed. It can be transmuted. So what if we talk about entities, and this is their little feast, if you will, and if we're giving it up to this universe, are we creating the bad environment by doing so that's going on in the world? I mean, you have to take it to consideration. You have to look at it from perspective, if you will. See, now when we give things up to God, we give ourselves, we surrender in a sense, but we give it up to God. What if in the universe, or the word universe, we give it up to an essence, and they can do whatever the hell they want to do it? What if it's maybe something we're trying to purge, something dark, something that is, it no longer serves us, as so many would say. But what if we're actually creating the environment of today by doing so? I mean, we never really think about that, but the language itself can mean that. I mean, look at it from a parable. Oh, I shed you. I don't want you anymore. But then again, I'm against God. We don't understand the power of the language. Okay, uni. The world wants a hive mind. They want everyone to think alike. You have to take that into consideration. They don't like dissidents. They don't like different thinking. That's bad. But you have to be able to talk these things out. So my question for you is, whether you look at it as how I'm describing it or not, but for a moment, I want you to look at it that way. I want you to look at it. Instead of us perhaps dealing with it or giving it up to God, we give it up to the universe. I mean, I more and more you can notice that our language is really a parable. It doesn't mean what it actually means. The English language, it's a very weak language, a very low frequency language. So this goes back to the innocence and ignorance. Our innocence, we don't understand the language, but this is the norm, quote, norm. But yet, in our ignorance, are we bringing on these own actions of the world that is the world is taking right now? You have to look at it from a parable standpoint. But see, we truly don't know how powerful our language is at the same time. We just assume that, it's gone. And I get people want to say, that's intention. But that's also ignorance when it comes to the creation of the word, when it comes out of your mouth. Your intention might be one thing, but if you are in the park of taking it into a creation when you speak, you have to wonder. I mean, let that sink in for a little bit. Don't answer right away if you feel like answering in the comments, but I'd like to get your thoughts on it. Yesterday I did delete one comment. I guess I challenged someone's belief in a previous video. And that's the whole idea, to challenge your belief, your beliefs. I'm trying to get you to a point of understanding faith, and the faith and truly what you believe. Not a belief, but when it becomes something so strong that you cannot defeat it. That's faith. When it can't be defeated by any other explanation. But anyway, the comment I did was, now, this is obviously the comment I deleted, that I guess I challenged their point of view. And they told me I should stop eating, assuming that I'm fat, and that I was ego and Satan's ego. Okay. See, now this is, from what I could tell, I guess a spiritual person. He had the little man bun in his picture, knot in his head. The reason why they call it a knot is it's probably not a good idea. I can be human. But, when you can only name call or belittle, you see, that's when someone gives up. That's when the fight is over. You've won. Because they have nothing other to combat. Because, see, they're afraid to combat their beliefs. And if you challenge those beliefs, and I understand people will fight for their beliefs. I understand that. But if you can't express those beliefs in a verbal tense without name calling or belittling, you've obviously won. You won the person that you're mocking. Because that's what it is. And see, there's a whole lot within the spiritual community that does that. Even the religious community, they mock you. That verse doesn't say this. This verse says that. They will fight you to the death over it. That's not the point. The point is understanding, acceptance. maybe look at it from someone else's perspective. The whole idea is to get you to think. Because I really think that this journey is all about understanding and coming to a point of wisdom. And I'm not saying I have the answers, I'm just giving you a perspective. But I guess he didn't like my turkey neck. I don't know. Who knows? But that particular person is everything that's wrong with the spiritual community. Okay? I'm God-based. I told you that. I come from this world of spirituality. I think they share a like outcome. Not so much religion. I'm against religion. I really am. But see, that's what's wrong with the spiritual community. Oh, I'm right. You're wrong. No. See, it says it in this book. That's what we have to get away from. We have to come to a point of what we can all, not necessarily all agree on, but I invite different points of views. And in most cases, the views are similar. You just, it just needs a little tweaking of some sort. But in the case of the nasty comment, and like I said, that's when you know you've won. That's when you know that you've hit somebody at a deep core. Now, why not take that as a challenge, or you have to see other people's perspective and other beliefs. You don't make fun of them. And that's what a lot of people in the communities do. The truthers, the spiritual, the UFOers, that's what they do. They mock. Because they have nothing else to do. They have no other words. But it also shows that their lack of thinking things through, their lack of coming to a wisdom of, well, it's possible. Or it's a possibility. But see, there's always a but. But, I don't know about you, but buts take up a lot of space. They really do. And buts are a lot of huge things in between the words. But these buts are also what won't let us release and come to a point of understanding. When we want to defend instead of maybe think. Or, oh, I see how that kind of incorporates to a particular belief I have. That's the closed mind. That's the closed mind. Anyway, just something to let you think about this morning. I don't want answers right away. I really don't. Because I think sometimes that when we respond to a video, it's reactive. I mean, think about it for a few minutes. See, reaction isn't always the best thing to do. But that's how most humans are geared. They're geared to react. They take it to a point of, well, I have to. No, you really don't. I mean, think about it. That's all. Just think about it. Throw something in there later. I mean, there's some of you, I agree, you have some given knowledge. I'm not looking for all unicorns and rainbows and all wonderful comments. You got to take the bad comments to begin with. But that's just it. When you challenge someone's particular belief, and I've said before, they'll fight you over it. They'll fight you to the death of it, instead of looking and understanding and seeing. They don't, instead of, rebutting, which is another funny word, but instead of kind of like, well, I think this way, there's nothing wrong with that. But when you resort to a kind of name-calling or shaming or, super negative, you've lost. We've already lost. But anyway, have a good day, okay?